I was saying that you reserve a lot of vitriol for a few culprits, which you single out, which is the media for running with certain narratives, and for even sometimes doubling down on a narrative even when there's no evidence for it. You mentioned a few cases in your book, and then also elite capture. You talk a lot about how the elites in this country have been captured by a lot of this kind of ideology, but also, I think one of the major issues is really like, how does a country prevail when its elites seem to harbor so much self-loathing, right?
Well, the answer is it won't. I mean, it just won't.
Okay.
It just won't.
Okay.
I mean, a country can't be led by people who hate it or think it's fundamentally rotten, and people won't want to defend it. I mean, I don't know if I'm sure you did see that poll that came out at the beginning after Vladimir Putin invades Ukraine earlier this year. There was a poll of Americans asking them what they would do in a similar situation if somebody invaded America. And a majority of Democrats said that they would leave, they'd flee. And only just about a majority of Republicans said they'd stay and fight. About half, it's about half and half. And by the way, one of the interesting things about that poll, I mean, you can't read too much into polls on these things because it's so hypothetical. But, for about half of Americans to say we'd hot-foot it to Canada, assuming that it wasn't Canada that did the invading, for about half of Americans to say that is quite startling for a couple of reasons. One is you normally tell pollsters things normally people lean towards the thing that puts them in a better light. So the figure could be a lot worse than that. But the second thing is, of course, it makes a total sense. I mean, this isn't my view, but why would you give up your life for a country which was rotten and had been from the start? And the people who say that are not minor figures. It's as I say in The War on the West, it's the US's ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Thomas Greenfield, who says this country was born in sin. It was born with its original sin. And by the way, there's no way we can get rid of it. Nothing you can do in all the centuries since. Nothing that the American people have done. And none of the blood they've shed and none of the treasures they've spent, none of it has alleviated any of that sin, and none of it ever will, as far as I can see. So why would you lay down your life for that? I do think, by the way, that permeates a lot in American culture. Look at Uvalde and the policeman. I mean, in one way, of course, their behavior is completely contemptible, and on another, never be too proud about this because you never know what you would do yourself. And we all like to think we'd be heroes, but who knows? However, the police sitting in the corridor for 45 minutes whilst children are being shot in the classroom. The policemen know, and I was speaking to a friend who was in the Marines a few days ago about this, probably knew that the first person through the door would be shot.
Yeah.
Well, America has always relied on the first person through the door knowing they'd be shot. Now, I don't want to do the obvious example, but like D-Day, the men knew that the first wave was not in a good position. Well, nevertheless, they ran at the enemy. And I think we've, in America in particular, created this society where, why would a policeman have been told they're all rotten and racist? They've listened as mainstream politicians have said, abolish the police, or all cops are bastards is scrawled all over their area. And whether they're black or white, they're apparently racist monsters. Why exactly do you risk your life on top of that? It's not clear to me. But it seems, I'm just giving you as an example, these things have embedded themselves, I believe, and now have practical consequences, which are very, very serious for a society.
Yeah, they certainly do have consequences. And I think the Uvalde situation is particularly heinous. I mean, it's hard to think about. It's such an awful situation, but it's their job. It's literally their job. This inexcusable lack of action there, as far as I'm concerned. But I do see. I have some friends who are police officers, and I do see what you mean about the kind of disheartening sort of climate that they find themselves in, where they're like, why am I even doing this? I mean, I know police officers who are actively trying to get out of policing. They're like, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this anymore. which is awful because,
yes,
at least the ones that I know, are very good people, and they're the type of people that I want to be police officers.
Right.
Right. So the only people left are going to be
the people you don't want to be police officers.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.